From June 25th to June 26th, 1876, the American Army took part in the Battle of the Little Bighorn, also known as Custer's Last Stand. They did not know that it was to be one of the worst military defeats in American history. They could not have known what was waiting for them. During the Great Sioux War of 1876, the United States Army undertook a military campaign during the summer in order to force the Lakota and Cheyenne Indians back to their reservations. The Americans decided to use a three-column approach in order to overwhelm the Indians. General Alfred Terry was given command of one of these columns, under whom a man known as George Armstrong Custer was assigned a regiment. The other two columns were headed by General George Crook and Colonel John Gibbons. Crook's column engaged the Indians at the Battle of the Rosebud, but was defeated by an immense amount of Indians. Unaware of this defeat, Gibbons and Terry's columns pressed forward, eventually merging. Terry commanded Custer and his regiment to scout out territory and, if need be, attack under Custer's command. Terry also offered Gatling guns and some of his own troops for use, but Custer turned them down, believing that additional infantry and weapons would only act as burdens. Custer and his scouts perched on top of a hill known as Crow's Nest and scanned the area. From what they saw, there were no warriors in sight, and the village in front of them was peaceful, with the Little Bighorn River in the vicinity. Custer, after assessing the situation, divided up his regiment into three groups, one under his own command, one under the command of Major Marcus Reno, and the last under the command of Captain Frederick Benteen. He had wanted to spend another day for scouting and reconnaissance. However, after being alerted by his men about a massive group of Indians, Custer prepared for an immediate attack. The first group to attack was that of Marcus Reno. Reno and his men advanced through a thick bramble along the banks of the Little Bighorn until they were within firing range of the village. As he gazed upon the village, Reno discovered that it was the biggest village he had ever seen. He ordered the formation of a skirmish line, which was useful in harassing the enemy, and gave the order to fire upon the village. However, his group's left flank was exposed and he was forced to retreat along with his men. Reno later met up with Benteen and the forces merged. Benteen displayed calmness and coolness in this time of loss and fought to protect his troop, leading counterattacks against the Indians and bringing ammunition to the troops. The soldiers, who were now located on Reno Hill, were completely oblivious to what was happening to Custer down below, and it was only after the battle that the fate of Custer and his troops would be known to the army. Custer and his troops, being overwhelmed by Indians, were forced to shoot their own horses and use their dead bodies as shields against a hail of Indian fire. To make matters worse, the Indians scavenged firearms from killed Americans. While American firepower decreased, Indian firepower increased, which severely shifted the tide of the battle. Eventually, after suffering much and being forced to fall back, Custer and his troops fled to what is now the infamous Last Stand Hill. Custer and his troops put up their most dogged defense, a last stand against the Indians. However, Last Stand Hill was not able to accommodate Custer's remaining troops, and in less than an hour the American forces were utterly annihilated. However, some sources say that a few Americans survived the onslaught, claiming that they managed to escape the hill but were killed later. Today, the Little Bighorn Battlefield National Memorial near Crow Agency, Montana, is a popular place for tourists and encompasses the entire area in which the battle occurred, from Reno Hill to Last Stand Hill. Both Americans and Indians paid their respects in this memorial, with each side placing monuments to the fallen. But wait, there's more, guys!
Dragons! Used to be an adventurer like you. Then I took an arrow in the knee.
Thank you so much for playing my game.